Interesting. I mean, it's good because it keeps it. Okay, so this little video is about Nathan's comment about mirror plane or recentering. He says, I know Sterling Osment had a fix for this prior to the latest patch. Somehow, even with locked or hidden mirror, I botched my center on my latest sculpt. Is there any workaround? Shane's saying, following, random thought, can you move the mirror layer into the sculpt layer nested inside? Well, yeah, the mirror plane's in the sculpt layer already, so it all gets down to the manipulator and how that behaves. So, Richard Michael Cassius Johnson, which is an awesome name. it's like one of Lando Calrissian's friends. Michael Cassius Johnson. Not sure how to fix this, but can you create new layers and paint big planes, low polys? Just grab your thing you want to recenter eyeball shop. Okay. Yeah, there used to be center, like there used to, Richard, there used to be one with the zoom, reveal close to tool, mirror plane mode, reveal the center, moving the tool closer, further away from the center. Yeah, I think center just used to work before, where you would take a layer and you had actions, and it would center it. I forget where that was in the last one. I know the center bounds is when you've just like started building layers or clay layers, and then you're moving the scene around and you're sculpting, and then you kind of have your little bounding boxes. Your bounding box is kind of like rotated, flipped, and over the other side there. And then when you want to center those bounds, it sort of brings everything, all the voxel stuff, into the center. Okay. So yeah. So anyway, we'll go to the mirror error. So first of all, for this version, the lathe is broken, I feel. Hopefully, you know, we won't make any light of that one. It's just not behaving the way it should. So with your mirror layer, like I said, if you do a design or a sculpt, and you want to, yeah, okay, so if we turn on scene origin, we can see the scene origin is in line with the sculpt layer, right? Scene origin, sculpt, and the mirror plane all are talking in their stack, like the way they stack, right? Now, what can mess this up straight away is if you enable your lathe, you've got yourself some issues. We can do it again, enable your lathe, and then we go to center sculpt. Now you got yourself some issues, basically. So if we then add to that and move the mirror, so now you've got your sculpt over there, and if you try to sculpt, it's over there, right? So to bring that back, the mirror plane, we want to go to manip, transform, 0 the X and the Y, right? And then 0 the rotations on the sculpt. 0 like that. And then you want to do exactly the same thing, X and the Y and then you want to 0 the rotations on sculpt. Now do say sculpt here. Sometimes it's on world, sometimes it's on, you know, world on the transform and things like that. But that's basically the way to get back to your mirror. The issue that you have here now is if we went to lathe this, same sort of thing will happen. Is that now your sculpt's not sort of straight. It's not going around a lathe. It's going around a strange axis that you've inadvertently created by moving around the scene, which is not a bad thing. We should all be able to sort of move around the scene and do stuff, but it all gets offset by the strange relationship between the lathe and the world. Oh, sorry, the lathe and the scene origin are behaving a little bit sort of, you know, strange at the moment. So anyway, how I get around that is I basically grab the sculpt, I zero out the X, and this is on the world axis. I grab the scene origin, and I 0 out the rotation on that, and the X on that. And I can, yeah, do the Y. Oh no, not the Y. The Y's good. Leave the Y where it is. Right. And then you got to go back to the. I mean, there's many ways you can do this, but you got to go back and forth. Let's just bring the Z back. Bring the Z back. Sorry, I've messed up. It's up here and here. Bring it back into the center. As you can see, lathe is weird. Very, very weird. Very weird. You know, you can bring the lathe back to its position by looking at your scene origin transform 518 0.518, which is the lathe should be 0.518, which is 518, right? And your the Z's fine. It's got a sort of hops up from the ground plane. And yeah, so you know, basically you're all back to where you were. But the unfortunate thing is that if you scale this up, like if we wanted to make this bigger and activate the lathe, it's going to break again, and gradually you'll find yourself back into a position where, you know, it all looks odd. But that's the way you get it back to sitting in a space where you can look at your sculpt moving around the lathe, you know, and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a funny one, but and what it used to do was you centered the sculpt and it center everything back to, like, it just clean everything back up to where you were sort of like when you first entered medium, like on a new scene, when you go to new, when you go to new, and you go to mirror, and you go to sculpt, it's all there, right? That position there is a very interesting position, and this scene origin used to be in that position. So this scene origin used to be in that original position in the last version, but the decisions have been made to put it there, which I don't agree with. I think it should just be back the way it was. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Yeah, the position of this is also one to sort of study, which is 0.7 and 1 unit up. So what you could potentially do is you can grab the scene origin, you can make this 1 unit, so 1 unit in Z, and then in Y you can go 0.7, and then go back up to the sculpt, and then go to the manip, and it's doubled. See, it's by a factor of 2. Oops, 0.7 Okay, and then 1 unit. So back to 1 unit, right there. But you've got to change the mirror, right? So the mirror is also the same thing. Very, very laborious moment here, but that's all good. 1. Okay, and just got to check your sculpt, which is also dangerous because that's also a factor too. I should have probably gone and done this first, and everything would have been a lot easier than what it is now. Anyway, because everything's gone back down there. So, if you go here to the mirror plane here, you want to go here, point 7, 1, and the sculpt layer, 1, and 0.7. Okay. Oh, and we'll fix the lathe while we're here. This is 0.7. 0.7 there. Right. And don't worry about the Z. You can't rotate it, but you can. That's the other thing that I'm noticing is that the lathe can be rotated, which I see the purpose for that, because you could potentially, instead of using it like a potter's wheel, you could use it like a bit like a CNC kind of router, where it spins around in front of you. But I think that maybe the lathe could be re-engineered in the future, which is horrible words to say for devs to hear. Re-engineered. Anyway, so this position right now is where the original medium position was in the last version. That's what it is. As much as I love that and think that that's a great idea, it doesn't really matter, because if you start to play with everything and then start to play with things and sculpt and use your lathe. Sure, it's all in center, but don't, like, the worst thing to do right now with the lathe is to use your grab tool, right? Your scene grab, and grab it and move it, because it's not going to work for you. It's going to go back to where we were 10-15 minutes ago, where everything was all you know crazy and off center. Let's get rid of this scene origin for a sec. So yeah, that's the hard part, is it loses this intuitive workflow and starts to become a little bit of a pain to deal with, because once you move it and grab it, it'll go off center, and you have to then reset all of the manipulators back to 0.7, 1, or whatever. So yeah, again, Nathan, pull it away, and then you pull your mirror away. Everything is off mirror plane. The best way to do that, to fix that, is to go to manipulator, zero it out in your X and your Y on, if you want to do your X, your Y, excuse me. If you want to do your Y, you can make that 0.7. Right. Then you change your rotations, clear them out. This is all channel box stuff in Maya. That's what this is. I see this as. So with your sculpt here, 0, Z is 1, enter, and this is 0.7, enter. Your rotation is cleared, and now you're back to where you started again. Everything works. Right. Yeah. Another quick tip I'll tell you. I've just got to get rid of this pane. I've got a panel there on this side, so it shows me Facebook in the comments. The other thing that I want to tell you is about the cut tool, right? Cutter tool. Increase. Right. So, angle snap at 90, and line and grid, and we're going to cut it completely in half. No, that's not cut. That's cut. I'm going to cut it. So, with your brush size, you can change how far you cut through an object by pushing up and down, or going, you know, left and right, whatever that stuff is. Oh, so this is your early 2.1. No, this is not 2. This is 2.2. So, up and down to change its direction, and I switch it to line here. Cut it straight in half like this. Two surfaces, right? So delete the left-hand side. Now, if we duplicate this and flip it, duplicate and flip, you'll see that there's a gap in the center. Right? So the reason why there's a gap in the center is because it's offset. The flip still hasn't been fixed, or I think it might be difficult. I think because it's a voxel bounding box that has a whole lot of data and all this stuff, and the mirror plane is this important part of sculpting, but then the voxel box is also, you know, I think the reason why this happens is there's other priorities going on with the voxel box and the data that's being cut in half. So maybe it's whole numbers. Maybe you can't get 0.2s and 0.5s and whatever. And I think that maybe that the reason why it cuts it and flips it by a number, which I'll show you what that number is. Yeah, geez, 1 second. Yeah. So the number for that is, the magic number is, if we look at the x-axis, it's 0. I had it on hand. 0.06. 0.06. Right. So 0.06 is your magic number. 212. Sorry, I'm just getting a bit confused. 0.06. So we've moved this over on the x-axis to 0.006. Now that brings you back into I would say like a mergeable, you know, like you can merge that. Whoa, never seen that before. That's cool. Why have I got surface texture for free? How did that happen? It's almost like it's flipped. Wow, that's cool. Okay. Oh my god, that looks so cool. Wow. Yeah. Would not have a clue how that's happened. Yeah. Let's turn it off. Make a new layer. I want to keep that. Okay, so cut that. Grid, angle, line, cut. No. Cut. Okay. delete, delete, duplicate, flip, move to 0.006. Oh my god. Sculpt. Yeah. Yeah, wow. Okay, so I can see what's happening there. So with the world, it's on world when you start. As soon as you move it, it goes to sculpt. It switches to sculpt. It's at world when you start medium. As soon as you move it with your grab tools, it goes to sculpt. Now if we move it to sculpt, and we say, oh, I hope this is right. Oh my god, 0.006. Enter. Ugh. You know what? That still doesn't look right. It's pretty close, but... No. Wow. What is it, double? 0.0012. Oh, 0.012. It seems like it's multiplied. I can't explain it. Anyway, all I know is that if you have trouble, wow, that's really cool. I've created a surface texture accidentally. So if I up-res that, increase. That's so cool. I've inadvertently created a surface texture, and the best way to do this flipping and merging is to do it in increments of 6, 0.006, or check your manip to see what it's on. Hopefully it's on sculpt, and then move that transform X over to 0.006 or 0.012. How cool is this crazy texture? That's insane. Unbelievable. That's so cool. That's not a bug. That's a feature. That's amazing. Interesting thing is how do I get it right? Let's see if we can do it again. So let's cut it. Grid angle. Let's grab this. Let's grab this. Grab this, delete. Grab this, duplicate, and flip. Flip. Oh my god, that is so cool. So you'll know. Let me check something. So merge, right, and then clay, grid angle off. Let's see if it. Yeah, cool. Oh my god, that's so cool. Yeah. The secrets of medium. They actually look really good. They work really well. It's so fun. Okay. So yeah, that concludes it for what I can say is yeah, have fun. Don't stress out about it. It's a bit painful with all the some of the changes, but you know, like as a I don't want to sound like a I don't want to sound like a prick or anything, but as I sort of could see that I knew that this lathe thing would start to cause issues with mirror, and that there's something going on that makes it just just not intuitive. But that's fine, you know. It's like I said, this is like the dawn of the most amazing software in the world, the way I see it. Nothing on the planet, I think, can compare to Medium. I